Hello there, everyone. It's Phil here from the OK Football Show, coming to you today with something a little bit different. It's the international break at the moment, and Luton Town, that I support, are not in action, nor is there any domestic football really for the Championship and Premier League at least. So I thought I'd pop on here and have a bit of a ramble, to be honest with you, and look at the news with regards to Gareth Southgate following his speech that he made yesterday at the Dimbleby Lectures. Now, it's the international break. Past habits have been that in the international break, we think about Gareth Southgate and how negative he's going to be and how we're going to try and avoid losing rather than winning a game of football. But I have to admit, I was really pleased when I heard about what he'd spoken about. Now, for those of you that know me, know that I've have a career in regards to safeguarding children, and it's a situation that's very sort of close to my heart in terms of on a personal level as well as a professional level. And I thought that what he said was really quite profound and also really quite timely. And I thought, I wonder if the football community would like to have a bit of a chat about that, listen to my thoughts, and also have a debate. So feel free, first and foremost, to put your comments in. I am not the authority on this particular situation, and I'm absolutely happy to be called out. Happy to have debate and see what you think. But the reason why I say it's so poignant at the minute is because there's been a couple of things in the news recently, which you might know, especially if there's any Luton fans that are watching, that will know about the absolute swine that is Nicholas Prosper. I hesitate to use his name because he wanted notoriety for what he described in his own words to essentially he wanted to be the he wanted to bring tragedy, and he wanted to be notorious for being one of the biggest sort of mass murderers of all time in the UK. And I just find that absolutely bizarre. It's undoubtedly hit that community really hard. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I feel like it does tie in to what Gareth Southgate had to say. Now, Gareth Southgate speaks about men in Britain, and I'm going to read a few quotes out from his speech just to give you a bit of a flavour as to what he said. So he said about young men across Britain are suffering, feeling isolated, and turning to toxic creators online in a search for direction. So I think, reading between the lines, that alludes to people like Andrew Tate and how much of an influence he can have on children, young adults, young men, and the rhetoric that he is dishing out. And I quite frankly, from a personal point of view, I see it and how it affects young people every day, and I find it just absolutely abhorrent. And I'm so glad that someone with the platform of Gareth Southgate has decided that he's going to take a stand against it. And the difficult thing is that the answers aren't easy. We live in a world of social media. This will be coming to you through YouTube, a branch of social media. It could even be shared on the likes of X, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. But ultimately, Gareth Southgate speaks about filling a void of role models, and talking about these role models tricking young men into believing what success is, and him showing what fake success is, taking pictures of himself in Lamborghinis and taking pictures of himself in nice hotels with scantily clad women, all those sorts of things. But the reality of it is that that's not attainable for the large majority of the public. It's not realistic, and ultimately he's in it for his own gain. I think if you actually take a look into him, he's tried to monetize his Hustlers University, and I think that people are starting to cotton on, that people like that are sort of fake. They're fake role models. And it made me wonder about football, bearing in mind this came from Gareth Southgate, and whether footballers are good role models, whether they're the perfect role models. They spoke about this quite a lot today on TalkSport, and I thought it was really interesting to hear the likes of Gabby Agbonlahor be quite refreshingly honest, and say when he was a footballer, he had no intention of being a role model at all. He just wanted to enjoy the money, enjoy his life, go out a couple of times a week and thoroughly enjoy himself. And you kind of think, who can blame him? Like, talk about landing on your feet. A lot of these young footballers, they've got talent coursing through their veins to be able to run around, kick a ball with a tremendous amount of talent, and they're being paid a king's ransom, really, to go and do so. And I thought to myself, I wonder if a footballer is a role model. And in many ways, I think when you support more of a community-based club, or when you support a club that's, I don't know, like a one-club town or city, you're fortunate enough to see the work that some of them do. And that probably goes all the way up the ladder in some respects. But also it makes you wonder about how these young men land in the situation that they're in and what they do with their time. You know, we say Gareth Southgate alludes to the younger men in the community at the moment and in our country in Great Britain, and how they're trying to sort of seek out direction, and they're trying to seek out what do I do, and also wonder sometimes if that's the same for footballers, and whether or not during the afternoon when they've finished their training session, what are they up to? They're going home, playing on FIFA and online gaming, potentially gambling. If you throw it all the way back to the likes of Paul Merson in the 1990s and how he's ruined his sort of financial benefits of his career, and how tough that's been for him, you kind of think, what are the PFA doing, and what's expected of these footballers to nowadays to go and be good role models. And essentially, I told you it would be a bit of a ramble. There's a few different things that I've sort of brought up all in one lump, but this week in particular, I just felt that I needed to give props to Gareth Southgate for saying what he's saying, because it promotes debate, it promotes thought, and especially given the news. Those of you that have Netflix or a dodgy Fire Stick, if you're so inclined, I would recommend, and also. I would strongly recommend going to have a look at the new drama called Adolescence. It's got Stephen Graham in it. He's the lead character, and it's a 4-episode drama, and it looks at the way that social media affects young people. It looks at the way that they deal with social media, and it looks at how that affects not only him, but how it affects the family. And those loved ones around him following his actions, and it did make me think about the fact that I'm on X, I'm on whatever you want to call it now, X, Twitter. I can't stand what it's become. It's really difficult. I know that a lot of close friends of mine have just washed their hands of it, because it is really, really tough. And again, there might be some comments following this video that mean that I'll be in the firing line, but so be it. It's one of those things, and but it does make you think about how these children and how young people that have to deal with social media, what examples are they being set from things that they follow, and also how do we manage it. I don't think getting rid of social media is the answer. I think small chunks of social media is quite healthy. I think that it's normal. And I don't think that taking it away cold turkey is going to help anyone out. But there needs to be some thought, because I go back to the sort of very near catastrophe that could have happened in Luton, like I say earlier on this week, where that gentleman, I used that word gentleman when I shouldn't, that monster that's been put away for a long old time, murdered 3 of his family members and wanted to target primary school children. And ultimately, he was seen as a bit of a loner that was always on his computer and not particularly looking at things that he should be looking at. And I would like to tie things up by saying fair play and well done to Gareth Southgate for putting his thoughts out there into the ether, and making people think about what young men are growing up towards, and what they can expect. So fair play, Gareth Southgate. Let me know what you think in the comments. I could have rambled on for 10 minutes nearly now, talking absolute rubbish. But I just think that it's a really poignant piece of news, piece of information that's going on during the international break that we can take stock of. Whilst the football's not on, whilst we've not got that joyous distraction of whether or not Luton are going to get relegated, whether or not Leeds United are going to go up, and who's going to join them, whether it's Burnley, whether it's Sheffield United. The point is that it's a time to be able to reflect, think about the lads that play football, that represent our clubs, how they're managing their mental health, whether or not the PFA are any good. I just think it's worth us all thinking about during this break, especially before the international matches start over the course of the weekend. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Let me know if you want me to shut up a bit more. And for what it's worth, thank you for listening if you've got this far, and let us know what your thoughts are. Take care, everyone. All the best.